Hi, welcome back. I'm going to show you how to do the stitching and binding details now. So let's get started. So I'm going to zoom in here and I have my back of my garment, I have the bodice piece. First thing I notice is that these points that are meeting together, you can kind of see the harsh edges. The first thing you'll want to do is to soften those edges, and you can do that by selecting both pieces. If you go to the strokes panel over here on the right, there are options for the corner. And there's an option right here that says round join. If you click that, it'll round the corner. And now it's a really soft corner. And it doesn't have those areas protruding anymore. So now I'm going to start by creating the binding piece. So the first thing I want to do is I want to click this neckline. It's this segment from here to here. And I can tell it's selected because I can see this handlebar. And I'm going to copy and paste it. So let's go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. And it's just that exact piece. So I'm going to move this up here. And I'm going to remove the fill. So the most simple way to do this is to draw, just kind of draw how you want it to be. And that looks pretty good. I actually think I just want to do the half of it and then reflect the other half. So to do that, I'm going to add a point here in the center of this top line, and then I'm going to delete this segment here. So now we just have actually half. And I can spend a little more time, making sure that looks perfect. I can either close it up as an object or I can leave it as a line because it has a starting point and an ending point. I'm going to leave it as a line right now. I'm going to give it a different fill color just so we can see it better right now. So let's make it pink. Now we're going to do the reflection. So we're going to go Object, go Transform Reflect, or you can go to the Reflect tool. Make sure you have the whole thing selected, not just a point. We'll go to our Reflection tool. Option, click, and we have the vertical and copy. And now it's copied over. It looks like a neck binding piece. However, these are two separate pieces and we need to join them together to be one. To do that, we can select this point, these 2 points. It gets kind of hard to see what you're selecting. So I do recommend locking down your t-shirt layers. So let's do that real quick. I'm selecting the main t-shirt, see here, and I'm going to go Object, Lock, Selection. So now everything is locked down except this binding piece. So let's zoom in. I'm going to just drag over these 2 points here. I can see them selected. We'll go to Object, Path, Average, both. And then we'll go Object, Path, and Join. We need to do that for the bottom bit too. So I've selected that point, Object, Path, Average, both, Object, Path, Join. And now it's one piece that is perfectly symmetrical. And I can make that be our gray again. For the back piece, we can simplify things a little bit. I'm going to use the Direct Select tool to copy this back piece, but before I do that, I need to unlock everything. So I'm going to select this back segment from here to here. I'm going to copy. If you want to paste it in place, you can go to Edit, Paste in Place. And that will paste it directly on top in the exact location that it was originally from. I'm going to get rid of my fill. And I'm going to give this line a different color again, just so we can see it. We've got the red. What I'm going to do back here is I'm going to copy this down about the same distance as this binding. And it looks like this. Because you're not going to see this whole piece, I don't need it to be perfect. I just need to connect this line and this line. So I'm going to use my pen tool to connect this point here to this point. And this point here to this point. And if I use my eyedropper tool, I can click on my t-shirt and fill it in that color, and it looks like this. Now we just need to put it in the right place. Command X, which is cut. I'm going to click this back piece, and I'm going to click Edit Paste in Front. And now that binding piece is there. You're only seeing a very bit of a sliver of the back of the garment, and that's okay. It still needs to be there. So that's how you create the binding pieces. And there are other ways to do this, but this might be the most simple way. The next thing we want to do is we want to add our stitching details. So this is going to be pretty simple. We're going to start by doing this piece down here. So I'm going to select this segment from here to here, and I'm going to copy and paste it. Once again, remove the fill. We're just reusing this line. And I'm going to shift it down. Oops. Make sure you have the right piece selected. And you can kind of widen it a little bit to be more appropriate, but we want it to be like right about there. I want to mess with it, make sure it looks good. And then you can drag it to meet the shoulder, but this should be sufficient enough for a stitching line. Now we need to add our stitches. To do that, you're going to go to the strokes panel, and you're going to click on dashed line. That created a really big dash. So we want to make adjustments here. I'm going to put 2 points in for the dash. I'm going to put 1 point in for the gap. And I'm going to make the stroke weight half of the weight of the line, which is 0.5. And that looks like a pretty good stitch line. And I can use this as my reference for the other lines. For this binding piece right here, I'm going to select that segment. We'll go copy, do paste in place this time, and remove the fill. We'll scooch it up like that, and we'll do it twice. You can also use the arrows on your keyboard to kind of move things up and down. I'm going to select both of those lines, and I'm going to use my eyedropper and click that stroke right there. So now it's taking this dashed line and applying it to these lines. And I can kind of scooch them together. You can zoom in and really refine this. So now I want to select these two, and I want to place them in the correct layer. So I'm going to cut them, and I'm going to place them in front of this binding piece. So I'll select that piece and go Edit, Paste in Front. And now that looks like that. You can just use existing lines to create your stitching lines. You could copy this line, but it's such a straight line, you can just create your own. And because I just used that style, it's already selected. Then I can copy this. I'm copying by holding down Option Shift on a Mac. Because these are symmetrical, the sleeves that is, I don't need to draw them again. I can just select these. And to select 2 items at once, I'm holding down Shift. I can do the reflect, or I could copy and paste them, and then I could reflect them later vertically and kind of just drag them. We have these guides on, so it will tell me where I need to place them. So that's just another way to reflect and transform things. And now we need to do the bottom hemline. So it's just a straight line. So I'm holding down Shift to create that straight line. And then once again, I'm using Option Shift and drag to create that hemline right there. These both need to be moved down, scooch down just a little bit. And now we have the stitching on our t-shirt.